Can she hear through the, Mari, can you hear us?
Yeah.
Thanks for joining.
Good morning. I want to call this meeting to order at 10 o'clock on Wednesday, October 12th, 13th. It's the 13th, sorry, Wednesday, October 13th. This is, it is the 12th? Okay. Wednesday, October 12th. This is the selection committee for RFP number 2022-004 for the annual audit services. We're supposed to pledge the flag?
We can, sure.
I mean, it's a meeting. I thought we were supposed to do it every meeting. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay. My role is to serve as chairwoman of the committee and make sure that we stay on point. Like all committee members, to introduce themselves and say whether you're a voting member or an advisory member.
My name is Eric Marmer. I am serving as the purchasing agent for this RFP. I'm a non-voting member.
I am Jason Chudnovsky. I am voting.
I am David Delina. I represent the town as the finance director. I'm just here on an advisory capacity to the board. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mara?
I'm Mara Fredrickson. I'm the finance director for the city of Boynton Beach, and I am a voting member.
Thank you. Okay, this meeting has been publicly noticed and is being recorded in accordance with section 119-071 of the Florida statutes. The audience may not participate in the discussion. We kindly request that you refrain from commenting on or disrupting the deliberations, and please make sure your cell phones are either off or in the vibrate position. And the purpose of this meeting is to formally vote on establishing the evaluation criteria that are set forth in the RFP. And Eric's going to explain to us what those are.
So this criteria, it was established using Florida statute 218391, and is the same criteria used in the last RFP for annual audit services. I'll read each criterion and provide a brief description of what you should be looking for. The first criteria is expertise and experience for a maximum of 50 points. Proposers must be able to display experience and performance on comparable government engagements and experience with single audits. Also be considered is the quality of the firm's personnel assigned to the town and their ability to perform additional services and provide technical support throughout the engagement. The next criteria is their audit approach for a maximum of 30 points. Proposers must be able to show the adequacy of the proposed staffing plan for various segments of engagements, including supervision and involvement of experienced personnel. An additional consideration would be for adequacy of the audit work plan and sampling technique, analytical and substantive procedures, and internal accounting and administrative controls. The total audit fees would be the next criteria for a maximum of 20 points. And how we do that is the proposal with the lowest cost receives the maximum points allowed, and all other proposals receive a percentage of points based on their cost relationship to the lowest. For example, the formula we would use would be the lowest cost divided by the cost being evaluated times the maximum points available gives you the awarded points. And that concludes what the evaluation for the criteria is, and I'll turn the meeting back over to the chairwoman.
All right, Eric, I have a question.
Sure.
Obviously, no one in their proposal is going to tell us that they did an audit for XYZ town and they did a horrible job.
Sure.
So how do we find out if they did a good job or they didn't do a good job?
I mean, I would say that part of our procedure is to check references, and we did a very diligent job, Skinner and myself, going through those references. And I would also advise if there is any more questions related to anyone's experience, we could reach out further to that municipality if that's something you want to do. We also have that possibility to, in the next meeting we have, to do presentations and interviews, so we can press further on what their experience is and how their audits went with the municipalities they worked for. That's another
Okay.
option.
Would you have a rating system for those that you vetted? Based on, were you told that they did a great job or they did a sufficient job?
Yeah,
Just so that we have something
Sure.
to compare apples to apples.
yes, we checked references, and I believe we didn't receive any negative from anyone. And I'll ask Skender to maybe speak more of that. Did we receive anything? But
Yeah, we have a reference form. So there's different categories laid out, and then you can score like a 1 through 5. And out of all of them we got back, it was 5s across the board for everyone.
Perfect. Thank you. Oh, sure.
sure,
When a firm has had an experience with the town prior,
sure.
okay, as we do have in the situation, how deep do we actually go into that information as far as why there was a change at that point?
Well, I could speak to, you're asking why is there going to be a change now?
Well, one of the firms basically was working with the town up until 2011.
Sure, and
And
why
then-
is there change?
And then there was a change.
Yeah, I'm gonna point that over to David because I know it's good practice to
Switch it up.
to switch it, or at least go out and see what's out there. And David, you want to speak to a little bit more of that? That'd be great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, typically you want to do that sometimes. In certain areas, you would want to change your auditors maybe once every 5 years. But I will tell you from my experience, not all auditing firms are the same. I mean, that would be like saying, well, all doctors or all dentists, are the same. Certain auditing firms help their clients, which is the town, stay on task. They help that by being proactive. They help the client stay a step ahead of the auditors. The reason why that's important is because while the audit's going on, our day-to-day operations are still going on. So now we're juggling a few balls. Not only are we juggling everything needed for the town, but we're also juggling requests from auditors. And certain audit firms are excellent in their management of the audit process. And I will tell you that I've had the experience of working with 2 firms on this list, and one is exceptional, and the other I had challenges with. I really did. So at the end of the day, it's important to look at how much resources they have available to them as far as staffing goes to their government practices, right? Because that's where our sweet spot is. If they have a tax practice, or if they have pensions and investing and things like that, that's not really what we need. And so I hope I answered your question indirectly, but.
And that's exactly the kind of information I want, because while price is a factor, it's not the only factor. And if you can't work with somebody, they could be the lowest by a substantial amount, but that's not who you want to hire. Mara, do you have any questions?
I don't at this time, no.
Thank you. Okay, we now have to vote on accepting the criteria.
If anyone wants to make a motion to vote, because I can't make that motion because I'm not a voting
Okay,
member.
I will move that we vote on the criteria.
Make a second.
And votes.
Do we
Okay.
need a voice vote or is it,
Voice vote is fine. Yeah.
okay,
The answer is yes.
Okay.
yes,
Yes.
Great.
passed. Okay, and I think for this meeting, that's really all we were here to do is vote on accepting the criteria. We now have to set a meeting for the next time to evaluate the proposals.
Yes. And does it work for Wednesday, same time next week for everyone, or?
Let's see.
Yeah, I can do Wednesday. next week.
No, it does not.
No, okay. Anytime next week?
Yeah, it's just at 10 o'clock in the morning. I have a dentist appointment.
You want to move it to the afternoon or Thursday?
Thursday morning is fine, or Wednesday afternoon would be fine.
Okay, does Wednesday afternoon work for everyone?
Yes.
Okay, we'll move that to probably October 20th at 2 p.m.
No, the 19th is Wednesday.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. Wednesday the 19th at 2 p.m. Will be the next meeting. And I just want to point something out because this is a very inquisitive group and we want to know more about these firms that submitted. If you don't have all the information you want or you want to learn more, I would say that when we move into the next meeting, after everyone gives their scoring and rank, if you want to see interviews and presentations, just make sure you motion that that's how you want to move forward after the next meeting. And then we'll set that up as well.
Okay. Well, if there's no other business, I close this meeting at 10:12.
Thank you very much.
You never do that.